might have a room full of people who admire you, depend on you, even praise you, yet you somehow still feel unseen, like the spotlight hits your body but never your soul, and you tell yourself you're just tired, or overthinking, or being dramatic. But what if the truth is this? You learned to be invisible long before you learned to speak, and now, even as an adult, you're still disappearing in plain sight. It begins so quietly that even you don't notice it happening. You're a child, maybe 6, maybe 10, staring at a parent who can't see you, not because they don't love you, but because they're drowning in their own storms. Maybe it's addiction, maybe it's rage, maybe it's depression so thick it steals the air from the room. Or maybe it's the cold, constant absence of someone who's physically there, but emotionally gone. And in that silence, an ancient instinct wakes up inside you. A voice that whispers, if I don't become what they need, no one will. And so you start to shrink, not your body, yourself. Your needs soften, your desires disappear, your emotions get folded up like clothes you no longer fit into. This is how an invisible child is born. You smile more. You cry less. You become the peacekeeper, the mature one, the little adult who carries burdens twice their size. And the world applauds you. You're so responsible. You're so stable. You're so strong. But no one asks the question that matters. At what cost? Because the price of becoming the easy child is simple. You learn that being yourself is dangerous. You learned that your needs are inconvenient. You learned that love is something you earn, not something you receive. And so you disappear, not physically, but emotionally. Your real self goes underground, and in its place grows a version of you built for survival. As you grow older, the wounds evolve into behaviors people mistake for personality. You become hyper-independent. You refuse help because you learned early that needing anything is unsafe. You overachieve because performing is the only way you've ever felt seen. You struggle to rest because slowing down makes your nervous system panic. Stillness feels like danger. You numb yourself during happy moments because joy feels unfamiliar, unearned, suspicious. You choose relationships where you overfunction. You fix, you calm, you carry, you explain, and then you wonder why you feel invisible even when someone swears they love you. These aren't flaws. These are adaptations. Your childhood trained you to survive, not to feel safe. Psychologists call this parentification, when a child becomes the therapist, the protector, the emotional regulator, roles that break the nervous system long before adulthood begins. Parentified children develop hypervigilance, always scanning, always anticipating, always managing other people's emotions before they explode. Your brain becomes a radar for danger. Your body becomes a storage unit for other people's chaos. And your identity becomes a mask you forget you're wearing. But deep down, underneath the competence and maturity and emotional strength, a small voice still whispers, "Why didn't anyone see me?" And that's the strange tragedy of becoming an invisible child. You grow into an adult who is visible to everyone, except yourself. You can lead a team, you can be the dependable friend, you can be the partner who holds everything together. But ask yourself this, when was the last time someone held you? When was the last time you let them? Because children will abandon their authenticity for attachment. They'll sacrifice who they are for a sliver of belonging, not out of weakness, but out of biological instinct. But what saved you then is crushing you now. You see, invisible children become adults who apologize for crying, flinch at compliments, downplay their accomplishments, struggle to say no, feel unsafe when life is peaceful, confuse exhaustion with worth, take care of everyone but themselves. It's not your fault. Your nervous system was trained in chaos. Your self-worth was carved from emotional scraps. Your entire identity was built on being the strong one, even when it hurt. And the saddest part, most invisible children don't even know they're hurting. They just think life is supposed to feel heavy. So what now? How do you heal something you don't fully remember? The first step is not fixing, it's witnessing. Stop telling yourself it wasn't that bad. Stop minimizing the childhood you barely survived. Stop gaslighting yourself into believing you should be fine. You weren't fine. You were surviving. There's a difference. Healing begins when you finally say, someone should have protected me, and they didn't. Not to blame them, but to free yourself. This is where shadow work begins. Not the aesthetic version you see online, but the real kind. The kind where you sit with the child inside you and finally listen. Ask them, what did you need back then? What were you afraid of? What did no one ever say to you? You might hear, I needed someone to ask how I was doing. I needed someone to tell me it wasn't my fault. I needed safety, rest, play, love without conditions. And slowly you begin giving those things to yourself, piece by piece, moment by moment. Not to rewrite your childhood, but to stop reliving it. And here's the truth, the one that hurts and heals at the same time. No one is coming to save the child you buried, but you can, and you must. You can choose rest over performance. You can choose boundaries over self-betrayal. You can choose softness over strength. You can choose presence over invisibility. You never got a childhood, that's true, but you still have a future. And this time, you're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to cry and laugh and feel and be seen. Not for what you do, not for how well you perform, but simply because you exist. You were never meant to be invisible. You just learned to be. But now you get to learn something new. You get to learn how to be seen, not by the world, but by yourself. And that is how the invisible child finally comes home.